heart-stopping stunts is without equal. During a career marked by record-setting falls from cliffs, buildings, helicopters, and bridges, he also deftly handled car crashes, fight scenes, you name it, he did it, and never broke a bone doing it. But in November 1986, Dar Robinson was killed in a motorcycle accident after completing a routine run past the cameras. He was only 39 years old. All of us were shocked, and we still mourn the loss of a man who meant so much to us, both professionally and personally.
In the next hour, we'll celebrate the amazing accomplishments of Dar Robinson, and guided by the stars and other colleagues who knew him, recall the very special man himself. The 1973 film Papillon, after a lifetime spent in a penal colony, the character played by Steve McQueen will make his final bid for freedom. A fledgling stuntman named Dar Robinson takes the dangerous 100-foot leap from the cliff into the shallow surf below. Magnum force, Clint Eastwood in a motorcycle duel outwits a corrupt policeman. Again, Dar Robinson takes the fall. Throughout the following years, there were few movie stunts that Dar Robinson wouldn't master with relative ease. But he wasn't content to do things the traditional way. He wanted to expand the horizons of his profession, with safety always a foremost concern.
When Dar arrived on a set to do a stunt or help create one, you knew it was a very special occasion. Seldom would he leave well enough alone. Somehow each stunt, the gag, would become better or bigger. He wasn't far along in his career when he began devising action shots previously thought impossible. His innovative design for safety firsts and remarkable athletic prowess have become legend in Hollywood and beyond.
I need him to move it over because I'm not lined up. Last time, see, I don't like landing on a seam. There's something about seams that really bother me. When you hit a seam and it separates, that's it, you go to the ground.
And going to the ground here in Atlanta, Georgia, is going to be one long fall.
What's going to be happening is I'm going to be backwards, except 150 feet up. This is a practice, a rehearsal.
The stunt for the Burt Reynolds film Sharky's Machine calls for Dar to crash through the 16th floor window. His specially designed airbag will break the fall only if hit just right.
Yeah.
He tests it from lower floors first.
Let's give her a little laxity.
A little softer.
Yeah, because she's just hitting like a ton of bricks. Ready? So, all right, we'll set her up one more time.
Foremost high fall man in the business, Dar will only make the full 160-foot jump when Burt calls action. This is the first film the two had ever worked on together.
I'm getting tired of the headache.
I asked for Dar.
Okay.
Because we had a stunt that was the climax of the movie, and we had done quite a few gags before that, and we had to top them all.
6 a.m., the morning of the film's major stunt.
I tell you what, it ought to be interesting. It's the first time I've ever come out backwards from this height. And I figure I can hit the bag. I just kind of wonder how I'm going to hit it.
Partner, I don't care how you hit it, as long as you get up, jump over and run over and grab me afterwards and say it was fun all the way down.
Oh, I promise. I promise. I hope so.
Wearing a face mask of the villain he's doubling doesn't make things easier. By falling backwards out of the window, there will be that critical moment when Dar can't see his airbag.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, roll camera.
Roll camera!
I'm shooting inside of this building.
Anytime, Dar!
Dar's going now.
Back off! You were really backwards.
Great. Want another one?
Both men wanted to work together again, but Dar was looking for a new challenge and pressed Burt to give it some thought.
Dar said, well, I want to be an actor. And I thought, well, okay. So I said, well, somewhere down the line, I'll find a part for you where you can act, and eventually we'll blow you out of a window or something. So this script came along. I mean, it wasn't a small part, it was a big part. I was concerned about whether he could do it, but I wasn't nearly as concerned as the studio was.
What you looking at? I never saw anybody with bunny eyes before.
And when I finally made up my mind that he was going to do it, there wasn't anybody that could talk me out of it.
This time, the climax to the film called Stick would be from the 22nd floor of a Miami building. Both Dar and Burt wanted the killer's death scene to be so original, it would stun the sophisticated action movie fans. What Dar came up with was truly a film first.
As I'm going. And then the stunt became so dangerous, it was beyond belief, because he was going to go off this building backwards with no airbag.
What's the matter, bunny eyes? Losing your grip?
Please help me.
Why don't you push real hard? You might hit the water.
A 200-foot fall with no airbag, no net to stop him. How was it done? Well, with great ingenuity. Rigging, testing, and rehearsing would take weeks. Dar had to deal with the pressures of acting an important role, at the same time overseeing every detail of his most ambitious movie stunt to date.
Garrett,
Yes, Dar.
we're secure here. Let's go for our first test. Kenny, how high are we off the ground?
It's like 10 feet.
He had this incredible ability to almost be alone in thousands of people. I mean, he was able to just, his concentration of who he was, who he thought he was.
Roll camera.
And I think he was right about who he thought he was. He was a very, very confident man.
The elaborately engineered action has been fully tested. In theory, all systems are go, so Dar himself, from the lower floor, will give it the first human test.
3, 2, 1. He's gone.
No airbag, no net, but a wire attached to his ankle and chest to break the fall. A complex hydraulic system decelerates his velocity in the final seconds. He rehearses with a safety rope as a backup, a luxury he won't have for the stunt itself. Final day of filming. Dar's hazardous stunt has had to wait until he completed all his other acting. The multi-million-dollar picture wouldn't have been given insurance coverage otherwise.
Right here. I felt very strongly that maybe I'd bitten off more than I could chew. I was getting very, very concerned about it. And I kept trying to read something in his eyes, you know, that would tell me that this is not a good idea, you know, but there wasn't a hint that he had a second where he didn't think this was going to go off to perfection. There wasn't a doubt. There also wasn't a doubt that it was unbelievably dangerous.
Okay, I'll take a minute to myself. I'll be out for makeup, contact lenses.
I am afraid of most all the work that I do. Anybody who says that they're not afraid of this type of work is either foolish or crazy.
Let me know about a minute before you're ready to go, okay? Because I want to get everybody up here.
I don't want to get on the rail until we are ready, just in case I get a sweat.
No, I understand. But I want to let everybody up here know, too. You better test our cameras, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
Everybody test their cameras, please.
Okay, we're going to bow our heads and take a moment of prayer. And whether you believe in the man upstairs or not, this is for Dar, okay? Okay, he said his. He's ready.
You guys.
Okay.
Stay by down there, guys.
We're ready, Doc.
Now, only an 1/8-inch wire will be used to break Dar's fall. Anything thicker might be seen by the camera. The wire could get tangled. It could snap.
And I remember just before he did it, he said, should I empty the gun on the way down? And I thought, no, don't think about the gun. Just, you know, just do whatever you got to do. And he said, no, I think this guy would empty the gun.
Out more fright, okay?
Here we go.
Maybe you want
Here we go, guys. We're rolling.
Here we go.
Roll all your cameras, please.
Dar has his most dramatic scene to play, falling backwards 20 stories toward concrete. His concentration must be total. His faith in his crew and equipment as great.
Good boy, Dar. Beauty.
I tell you, my heart was in my throat. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was thrilling. It was terribly thrilling. It was scary. It was thrilling, and I think every guy in the crew felt the same way I did. Everybody felt like we'd all been a part of something that was quite unique.
You got what I was looking at. It was.
Thanks, pal. Give me the opportunity. Was a rush? It was a rush. I was busy working.
I was worried. I didn't know what position I was going to be in. I have no idea. I think I kind of cuffed it and just kept this part of my body like this still.
Well, you were working all the way down.
I fired all 6 shots.
I know.
When Dar was a boy in Burbank, California, his father, Jess Robinson, ran a popular trampoline center where Hollywood stuntmen often came to work out.
When Dar first started jumping on the trampoline, which was like 8 years old, he took to it very easily. Dar had kinesthetic sense, which means you know where you are when you're upside down. And that makes it easy later on in his jumps and everything, that he always knew where he was when he was any time in a jump or in any stunt. No matter what happened to him, he would still know right where he was.
Dar's physical coordination impressed one stuntman in particular. We're watching Lauren Janes, a champion athlete turned professional stuntman. Lauren got Dar his first movie job and remained his mentor and lifetime friend. Lauren, like Dar, had never broken a bone in his long, risk-filled career.
Well, I guess I've known Dar actually since he was 9 or 10 years old, and he always had this drive. It's one of the things you don't really know what it is, but he had a drive for excellence and to do something that no one else had done, and to do it well and do it with safety so that other people could follow and other people could do it. But Dar had it. He had that drive.
Dar methodically prepares to break his own world's record for a free fall from air to ground. It's up to him to compute the mathematics of weight, speed, and distance, since no one has ever intentionally jumped 300 feet before. requiring the largest airbag built so far. Even it won't break his fall if he doesn't land properly.
When you first start a stunt, when you're waiting to go, is the worst part of it. When they say roll the camera and they say action, it now becomes work. You have to isolate everything else and totally focus on what it is you're doing. It takes 100% concentration, and there is no fear to it.
A fall of 30 stories, documented on film for others to wonder at and to learn from. A stuntman's life, at least Dar Robinson's, claiming a world record one day in Southern California and flying far above the Arctic Circle the next to a challenging film location.
The one thing that really I love so much about this business is the travel. The shot I want is with you, right here, me here. I want you right on top of me like this. There's a saying, and it says, why grow up when you can make movies? And that's exactly what it is. Why grow up when you can make movies?
And you go...
The movie was called Iceman. Timothy Hutton plays an anthropologist who helps a prehistoric man whom scientists have brought back to life return to his mystical origins.
Charlie!
The search helicopter is mistaken for a symbolic bird by the Iceman, played by John Lone, who sees it as his destiny. These climactic few moments of the film would take months to prepare and shoot in sub-zero weather. Doubling the Iceman, except in close-ups, Dar would have to make dozens of difficult jumps before the dramatic sequence was completed. Dar's parachute is hidden under 60 pounds of buffalo hide. He had to devise intricate safety measures to assure the chute's quick deployment from the heavy costume. From 10,000 feet, he'll fall backwards for one shot, the cameraman following, with his parachute unencumbered. The risk factor was there every day in the treacherous Arctic. But despite the countless takes and retakes called for, Dar was always ready to go again.
What we got? I give about 8.
As Timothy Hutton recalls,
he just brought something to the work that always made things very exciting. He had a real sense of high drama about what he was doing.
Go out and jump on it.
You really felt with Dar that he knew what he was doing, and he had thought it out. And he wasn't leaving anything to chance.
a year later, Timothy would find himself working more closely with Dar, climbing around girders on New York's 59th Street Bridge for the movie Turk 182. He'd be relying on Dar's expertise as stunt coordinator to get him through 5 long nights of filming. His recollection of the experience is still fresh in his memory.
The harness had a hook, a high chest hook that went up and over the top of the bridge and then back down the other side where he was holding it. And I would, when I was up there, I would look down and see the river, look up and see the top of the bridge, and look over there and see Dar with the cable. And I remember telling a friend the next day that it was at that moment that I realized that if I had to pick one friend, it'd be Dar Robinson.
What floor? Okay, there's an alarm box in the corner, all right? I'm coming with you! Oh!
In the same film, Robert Urich, playing Timothy's brother, an off-duty fireman, volunteers to attempt the rescue of a little girl who had hidden herself in a trunk. This action leads up to the major stunt in the picture.
He took days getting ready to do this jump out of the window for me. And the second night, it was still blowing a little bit. But Dar said, yeah, let's do it, let's go. And the closer we got, the more excited you could see Dar get, and more collected all at the same time. The time he went out the window, he was the star of the movie, and everybody was cheering and yelling. It was very exciting.
By definition, stuntmen must also be showmen. But some of Dar's colleagues felt he often went too far with a number of his daring, one-of-a-kind feats. Stuntman Lauren James disagrees with them.
And a lot of things he did, others would consider were Daredevil. But where the line was drawn and what made Dar different, first, he was an athlete. He wasn't macho. He wasn't trying to be a big shot or anything else. It was a challenge to him physically and mentally to create and to do what he was trying to do. But what made the difference in Dar when he got right to that line of being the Daredevil is that Dar planned it.
And what Dar had worked out as scientifically as possible was how to jump from one plane and land on the wing of another, while both were diving to the ground at 125 miles per hour, a drogue chute serving as the plane's stabilizer. But until the stunt is done for the first time, there are many unknowns. Can Dar exactly match the speed of the catch plane? Will he be able to grab hold of the struts without being drawn into the propeller? Will the pilot be able to maintain control with the sudden impact of Dar's weight? Affirmative on all counts. Millions of television viewers were witness to this amazing achievement, featured on a special hosted by Lee Marvin.
So you sat, and then I said, he's it. And boy, you should have heard the cheer around the camera crew.
I was in. I turned around, looked at Michael, and said, cut her away! Cut her away! Take me home!
Oh, that's just dynamic.
Thank you.
Okay, Dar.
We told you it could be done, didn't we?
That's a first.
In the 1979 film High Point, Christopher Plummer loses his grip and plunges to the ground from the tallest building in the world. Of course, it's Dar Robinson, once again doing the impossible. A parachute hidden under his jacket, released 3 seconds from the concrete street.
What were you thinking of when you pushed off?
I was hoping it was going to work. What else?
Any doubts?
Yeah, I always have doubts. I did.
The 120-story building in Toronto, Canada intrigued Dar, and it inspired an idea for a spectacular stunt that would bring him back a year later.
That is the world's tallest freestanding structure, the CN Tower in Toronto, Canada.
With Kathy Lee Crosby as host reporter of a one-hour special featuring Dar performing new stunts, he planned to leap off the tower again, this time without a parachute.
When I first met Dar, his reputation had preceded him, and for some reason I just had felt that this person had to be made of steel and would be, you know, huge. And not that he was small, but I mean, he just was certainly smaller than I had imagined. And I think I thought he was crazy. Well, Dar wasn't there the first time, and I said, oh, just step out on the doorway and then we'll lead you to where we're going to do the thing. You step over this little rim, and it was about a foot wide, maybe a foot and a half. And it was, the wind was blowing unbelievably. And I'm afraid of heights. I couldn't believe anybody would do this.
What we're going to do this time is without a parachute, without an airbag. We're going to jump from CN Tower with nothing but a small wire hooked to me.
Only a small wire to hold him while he fell. Only a small wire to break his fall a second before he would hit the ground.
3, 2, 1.
But the wind factor down the length of the tower hadn't been fully reckoned with. Sudden gusts could smash him into the building at any moment.
Still too much wind. We've got a problem. I think we've got turbulence. We got a swirl in her, and that's why.
With Kai Michelson, his trusted engineer and close friend, Dar analyzes the wind and weather every day to determine when it will be a safe time to do the jump, and if there will be a safe time.
Wind's too high. Can't take the chance.
compounding the risk factor of the stunt. This equipment had never been tested under these conditions. During one rehearsal with George, the 170-pound dummy, the braking system malfunctions. The jump has been called off a half a dozen times already because of weather or equipment problems. The pressures mount for both Dar and the producers. Costs are soaring. The next major stunt has to be prepared. And the bottom line, is this stunt safe?
I'm afraid of dying. I am not out for the thrills of it. This is my job. I do my job well, and because it scares me so bad, I do everything in the world to make sure that I'm not going to get hurt there.
I don't think Dar would have ever done anything that he didn't think he could do. Absolutely. And that he hadn't researched and that he hadn't tried every conceivable way to protect himself. There was no death wish in Dar at all. Not, at least not to my mind. But I think when push came to shove, especially at CN Tower, I think, and all the delays, I think he was nervous and I think he was scared.
Finally, the morning dawned when all the conditions were as favorable as they would ever be. As the crowd gathered in growing numbers to watch, so did the sense of anticipation, especially on the tower itself. The crew knew this was as difficult as any stunt could get. Kai Michelson, Dar's engineer on many stunts before this one, vividly recalls the final moments.
Bob, you got... I'll never forget, he says, Kai, he says, if this stunt fails and the cable breaks, he says, I'm going to keep my eyes open to the ground. If they perform an autopsy on me, he said, they'll find sand in my eyes. And I'll never forget when he said that to me because it put the fear of God in me. I'll never forget that day.
That is scary, I gotta tell you. Nobody's ever gonna cry. Yeah. Right with you. We're close, Chief. We're with you all the way there.
I didn't want to be down where my position was to be set and meeting him there at the bottom. I was very uncomfortable. I didn't want to be the interviewer.
Maybe I'll just do a ready, set, go, all right, Kai? Well, maybe we'll go 1 to 10. Or maybe we'll, maybe we won't go. I think we waited too long. Oh, not sure, Cayenne. Oh, what a jerk I am. Oh, what a jerk I am. Oh, what a jerk I am. That man's chant, gang. Woo! Woo! All right, Kai. Hey, man, I love you guys. I love you, Dar. All right. Ready, set, go. You ready? Ready? Set.
Stunt ends in exhilaration, and the show goes on. Next to Arizona, where Dar prepares for the most visually dramatic stunt he's ever attempted. Again, tremendous risk is involved.
The Grand Canyon was a completely different stunt for me. It excited me. I thought this was a fabulous thing to do. They took us in an airplane to just survey what it would be like if you went right over that ramp and jumped the canyon, and boy, I tell you, it was fantastic. I was excited.
While the road is worked on in the Grand Canyon, Dar, Kai Michelson, and the crew prepare the jump car in California.
Okay, after taking off from over there, I got to land at least here. Reason is because if I can't clear this amount of distance here, I won't be able to get over the ledge, which is 600 feet down in Grand Canyon.
Among the major research questions to be answered here, How fast must the car be going to be propelled far enough off the ramp to clear the lower ledge? What's the proper balance for the car to be stable enough in flight for Dar to get out safely in time? In the process of testing for the big event, he breaks 3 world's records for a ramp-to-ramp car jump. But Dar's mind is on the Grand Canyon, and ever the perfectionist, there's work to be done.
I sure would like to see that. Well, let's go up on top and take a look.
Dar would always push the crew right to the end. When we went out and tested the stunt, it would just go on and on and on. We would do it over and over and over and over. And Dar would always say, there's a flaw here someplace. There's a flaw. I want you to find the flaw in the equipment. And we would do it over and over to the point where we'd actually wear the equipment out. But when he was thoroughly convinced it's time to do it, then he would do it. And, of course, he would be convinced that he wasn't going to get hurt and that we would pull off the stunt.
30 miles of road had to be built to reach Vulcan's throne. Dar rehearses on the final 1-mile runway atop the high mesa he chose for his long dreamt-of stunt. A stunt he hoped would take viewers off the ledge with him. He regarded this as most perfectly designed and engineered piece of work. Of course, it still crackled with danger, but that's what it was meant to do. As on many of his stunts, Dar would bring his sons to share the experience with him.
By being with me, they know what the risk value is and what the danger value is. It helps them in their own lives. I'm not necessarily enthusiastic about them becoming stunt people. If that is what they truly want to be, I will help them with it because I love them.
The time has come for another challenge to both reason and gravity. Dar will accelerate to 90 miles an hour, and once past this point, this line, there will be no turning back. As well prepared as the stunt has been, there's no guarantee the car will perform as planned, as some small mechanical mix-up might prevent Dar from bailing out in time. With any stunt, there's always risk.
In the best sense of the word. I don't mean it in fly-by-night. He was the ultimate professional. But there was a daring, and I think he enjoyed that a lot. And that never changed. That never changed throughout the 2 months of filming. I always got that.
Dar's talent wasn't restricted to just performing stunts. He could also explain his extraordinary occupation to the public with exceptional clarity and a natural sense of humor.
How's that feel? You comfortable? What? Are you comfy?
Yeah, sure.
Good. I want to get down from here myself.
Ed, you want to try this? It'd be great for your hernia. I want you to know, this is a really fun ride. When are we going to do this?
When are we going to do this? You want to do it now?
I guess so.
Are you really ready?
I think so.
I don't know. I think we might have a little problem up there. How's your heart?
I'm fine. Thank you, Dar. Dar Robinson.
As a spokesman for the stunt profession, no one surpassed Dar in quietly but forcefully promoting the cause of safety.
Overcome the inherent fear of heights.
I learned something early in life which made a lot of difference for me. Rather than go up and jump off my roof, what I would do is I would start out, and I would recommend this to anybody who wanted to jump off of anything, Go over and jump off your curb. And jump off a chair. Jump off a small wall. Build your way up. You would find that rather than get to the roof and jump off and get hurt, about halfway up you'd find that it's going to start to hurt, and if you hadn't done it, it would have hurt you.
I mean, it's going to be the worst thing you ever saw in your life.
Dar sharply criticizes stuntwoman Allison Logston. By not following his instructions to the letter, she almost missed the airbag. If she had, it would have been fatal.
If you have to, jump back just a little bit, but don't jump forward, okay? There you go.
Dar sends her up again before she loses her confidence.
Now!
A long list of young stunt people owe much to Dar's coaching. Allison, obviously a top student, comes away with a new women's world record for a high fall, 200 feet. For films like Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone, Dar would both double the star in his more precarious positions and as stunt coordinator help stage all the action scenes. New York's East River was a major location, and at one point, Dar would find himself at the bottom of it. He couldn't escape from the sinking bus until it had completely disappeared from sight, a very tricky stunt at midnight. The movie is To Live and Die in L.A. To help establish the eccentric nature of the hero, played by William Peterson, the script calls for him to jump off a high bridge. Not only does Dar do the stunt, but his invention, the decelerator, is now used as a story point in the film itself. Dar's influence had indeed become far-reaching. Lethal Weapon was one of the biggest hits in 1987. Shot in the fall of 1986 in and around Hollywood, its technical demands required the services of the best in the business. Dick Donner was at the helm as director. Mel Gibson starred, along with Danny Glover, as the heroic cop partners, while Gary Busey was the arch-nemesis villain. Shooting was well underway when Donner called in Dar to help create and execute several difficult sequences.
I knew they were bringing in somebody pretty hot, some experts. I met Dar and I was just talking, yapping with him, and he was very outgoing. He knew more jokes, I think, than anyone I've ever met, because I tried to match him, and every time I'd tell him a story, he'd get the punchline there first. He knew them. It was like he was a tremendous walking glossary of stories. And then, I found out, oh, this is the expert, He was so casual and offhanded about what he was good at.
Dar assured him Mel and his fellow actor could jump safely from a crane 30 feet up. The two actors readily volunteered to try it.
I said, piece of cake, and I really big-noted myself. I thought, easy. But of course, things look different from the ground looking up. And when you're actually up there looking down, it looks like about 3 times as far. So everything in your whole body, everything in your whole being cries out, no, don't do this, when you're up on that kind of height looking down, knowing that you've got to jump off. We had to do it about 4 or 5 times. Me and the other actor, both our knees knocking together. But Dar was, we went up with him, and he was doing all these diversionary things to take our mind off the fact that we were getting further and further away from the ground, and he made it seem like a piece of cake. Of course, it was for him. He was having fun. He was playing. He was very childlike.
I knew just from the feeling he was more than a stuntman, more than a guy that jumped out of a truck or had a barroom fight or ran headlong into a wall. He's more like a surgeon, an engineer of gravity and inertia. And what impressed me, he had these blue eyes that were real soft and sensitive, but could go right through you. And there was just something more there than met the eye.
Was that an aura, something about him that other people were attracted to him in a sense, and there was a great deal of reverence for him and his work, but he didn't abuse it. He had a certain sense of himself.
Lethal Weapon has a happy ending. Unfortunately, reality isn't a movie script. Only weeks after filming was completed, Dar lost his life in a motorcycle accident. an accident unrelated to a major stunt. Movies are a collaborative art form. Rarely are they dedicated to any one person. But Dick Donner dedicated Lethal Weapon to Dar.
I wanted his name on that screen. I just wanted to say thank you, Dar. Thank you, Dar, and thank you for all those others, and probably all those that are going to follow him. Never, not in death, hopefully, but in the inventiveness and the creativeness that he brought to stunts. And when it came to being in the hands of a Dar Robinson, that was it. He was the one and only.
Audiences the world over marvel at the acts of daring stuntmen perform, acts which few people could or would think of emulating. The innovators in the field, from the legendary Yakima Canutt to the young Dar Robinson, brought both imagination and science to a hazardous occupation. Dar lived to be only 39 years old, yet his legacy of spectacular engineered-for-safety stunts is unique in the profession. But perhaps as enduring is the deep impression he made on others as a unique human being.
He always had this smile. There was a perpetual smile. The man loved life. He loved what he was doing. He loved the people he worked with. It always came through on his face.
He was and is a one-of-a-kind, and someone who I loved sharing the laughter and the fun and the excitement with. He added to my life. He owns a piece of it.
Oh, what's that jerk I am? That man's dead, gang.
We all lost a good friend. I lost my very best friend. I also think that it's really neat in life where somebody really finds a person that you can really consider as your best friend. So at least I had that opportunity.
Very, very honest. That's what I remember when I first met the man. And still not believing completely that he's not around. That's what I'll always remember. This is somebody that anybody can trust.
He was very aware of the fact that someone will probably come along and jump higher, jump faster, further. He was aware of that. But for the time that he was here on this earth, he was the best, and he knew that.
It's tough that Dar's gone, but he lived probably more in his 39 years than any three of us.